Welcome to Indus Documentary. I'm Dr. Mumtaz Khan, and our today guest is Martina Morrocchi. She is a famous theatrical professional, and she's also working as a digital professional. She has more than 10 years of experience in many countries, including Europe, China, and she has a lot of experience, lot of vision from different cultures, societies, and lot of experience from the theater profession. So today she's coming with a lot of ideas to discuss about the digital parenting. So it's my pleasure to welcome you, Miss Martina, and now here you tell me something introduction about yourself, and then we can start our talk.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me here today. I'm focused now on bringing around digital parenting education because I think it's the food nowadays. I think that most of us is struggling on how deal with digital devices, and mostly parents how to deal with it and how to avoid to get our kids digital addicted.
Okay, so Martina, what exactly is the digital parenting and digital parenting education in this modern era?
Well, basically, the challenge is to, as a parent, not forbid 100%, but to balance it and find a way to let your child master the digital tool and not be used by the digital tools.
Okay.
So basically, what I'm doing is to educate parents on how to introduce digital devices and not just let the kid use it, how to talk with the kids about digital devices, and how to teach them how to use it. In this way, the kids will use a phone or a tablet or a computer as we used to learn how to use a knife, for example, right? Or how we use the scissors. So you have to learn how to use it. It's not enough just to take it and start using it.
Okay, so even though we teach, what should be the frequency? Because the kids, their memory is very short time. Even if we teach once, they remember for a few days, and then they forget, and then they do start their own things. So should we, as a parent, remind them again and again? And if we do so again and again, then the message or the importance in the views of the kids is gone. So they don't take it seriously because oh, my mom is always shouting and yelling at me, don't do this, don't do this. So what should be this strategy, and how often we should remind, and how which way we should inform them so that
Well,
it becomes
this is a good question, and I have a very clear rule in my mind. It's like kids usually they don't listen, they copy. So it's not really about what you say, but it's about what you do. So if you, as a parent, you cook and you always keep your phone, and your child is calling you, and you say, yeah, 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 I will come, and you never go, your child will be likely using the phone. It's like, for example, sometimes the metaphor is if your parents smoke, your child is likely become a smoker, right? So rule number one is teach them by doing. So we should be the first to show them how to don't overuse the. If we're the first one that after lunch or dinner we lay on the sofa and scrolling videos, how can we really yell at them and say, hey, don't use the right? So for me, this is the number one. We need to give the example. It's the same when we have to cross the road, right? It's not that we repeat each time, oh, look out right and left. There are no motors. Now we can go. No, you do it. You hold the hand, right? It's exactly the same. Or like with the fire, we don't have to repeat each time to our child, don't go close to the fire, don't go close to the fire. But we might hold them at the beginning, or then we teach them, and then show, and then we explain how, and then we explain why. So first, teach by doing.
I got your
Second,
messages.
yeah, be the example. Second is not really about tell them to don't do. It's more about tell them what what to do and doing together. So, for example, if your child is asking to watch a cartoon, instead to give the phone and give him the cartoon, you can turn on the TV if you really want to give him this moment of cartoon time. Watch the cartoon together, for example. And there is a specific thing that for me is very important. I call this SMART. You know, in marketing, it's called SMART. Is the zero moment of truth. And for me, there is this digital parenting SMART. That is the moment when usually a parent is very tired, frustrated, or nervous, or is on the edge. That is kind of take this phone and don't bother.
Yeah,
And this is for me.
that's actually I think nowadays most common because mom and dad both are
Yeah.
they are tired or they have low mood, low energy, so they came home without energy, very low energy, so they just want to isolate themselves, so they give cell phone to the kids and then they're doing their own things.
Exactly. So if you do that later, you cannot get angry on your son or your daughter, right? Because it's you who gave, correct? So for me, this mod is also the key. Later, get the moment and less you will have to argue with your child, right? So after the zero moment of truth is really about you, how you set to the rule. It's really about you, how to explain to your children how to manage it. And you have to set to so many rules and you have to explain it clearly with lots of calm and it's a very big work to do. Actually, for example, I can give you an example. My son now is 3, and I started talking with him about digital devices when he was 1.5. Because, of course, it was very common to go around and see people giving the phone to the children, and it was like, oh mommy, I also want it. I was like, no, sorry. And so we started talking about this very early. He has zero phone time. The only time that he has is when we have video phone call with a family member abroad. This is the only phone time. He watch probably twice a week cartoon, but on the TV or on the computer. On
Twice
the
a week.
sofa.
Twice a week.
Yeah, twice a week and like 20 minutes, no more than that.
Okay.
And the other day, turned already 3 years old, we were at a restaurant and another family next to me. They gave the phone to a 3-4 years old child, roughly, something like that. And of course, my son told me, "Mommy, I also want to watch Paw Patrol video." I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
this
sorry."
is the most common techniques the kids use. Though everyone in my class has a phone. Why don't I have? The kids
Exactly. And
use
it's
the same.
perfect. It's perfect. I mean, as a parent, you don't need to feel bad or you don't need to feel that you're not doing the right thing because actually don't give it the right do. So basically he told me, and why I cannot? I told him, I'm sorry, you cannot because it's not good for your brain. And I was like, oh, why he's doing that? And it's like, well, because probably his parents are not aware about how much harmful is the digital device. And he was like, oh. And then he looked at me and say, but we do have TV at home. And actually, I also do have a smartphone. It's not that I go around with Nokia 3310. You know what I mean? It's not that I just leave you watching the TV as much as you want. And I was like, oh, okay. And that's it. He kept playing with his Lego and Play-Doh. Then he started talking with the person next to the table, and that's it. I think that nowadays parents are too much, and sometimes there is this easy excuse of, oh, everybody's doing, I can do the same. It's like, no. In Italy we say, if somebody jumped from a window, would you jump from the window? It's like, no, right? It's the same. It's not good for our children's brain. We should not do it. We should not give it. And now more and more pediatricians and associations and governments, they are telling aloud, they are warning us, never give a device before 6 years old and never give social media before 13. So if we are a scientist society, we should listen to scientist results and doctors, right? Otherwise, why do we go to the doctor if later we don't listen to the advice, right?
Yeah, so you told the one important thing which I understand. The real thing is the parent should be a role model. They should find some energy, especially the mom. She should have energy to engage the kids early ages, for example, up to the 6 or 10 years, 10 years of age. So, but usually the moms are not aware of these techniques.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
is what this is one of our program. This is also type of education. If someone will listen, he or she will get some message. So, what other forms can be possible that we can educate the moms that the early years are so important, and specifying some time for the kids. It's is a not a just a one way. The child will you will ask, you will order, and the child will obey. So this strategy of parenting is usually the kids are they are rebellious and they don't listen, or the importance is gone. So the other way which you are telling, that the moms should have energy to engage, but usually they don't have energy, or they are not educated about this strategy. So how can we do overcome this barrier, this challenge?
Oh, well, first, I don't think that we don't have energy. I think that now we have lower patience.
Low patience. Okay.
It's not about energy because a mom has plenty of energy.
Mm.
And I think you have seen it also with your own eyes, right? Like when we have a sick kid, we can even don't sleep for 3 days. We will always find the energy to stay with our kid and be sure that he's safe, right? Be sure that he get anything he needs. So I don't think that is about the energy. I think that is about many factors. Like our society now is a little bit lonely,
Yeah, that's true.
and this is the first factor that is sadly increasing the digital time. Also, because one of the very important data say that digitals are becoming babysitters, because in the like lower income families, the digital use is always higher. So there is, yeah, first sub factor is the loneliness, then there is the income, but there is also the patient that is connected with the loneliness, because actually social interaction is giving us also energy. That is a different kind of energy, right?
Mm.
That actually will
That's
increase
true.
our
Mm.
good feeling, our patience, our good mood, our interest to be connected and
Mm.
engaged. So, like, if you, as a mom or as a father, you have a beautiful day, no matter how much tired you are, you will be more willing to spend the time with your beloved, right? If you have a terrible day, sadly, lately in this modern society, it's more likely that the person will spend more time on his digital devices. So I think it's many factors together, but I would say that the first advice is don't be tricked that you will rest by spending time on your digital device, because it's not true. Actually, it's the opposite, because your brain, your eyes are getting more tired. If you're tired or you don't have the energy to engage with your children, it's fine. You talk with your children and you say, or your child, and you say, sorry, mommy today is tired. I need to take a shower. I need to read a book. Please play alone. And there is no problem at all to do that. It's just enough that you create a safe environment for your child, and your child will be perfect. I mean, even if you come and say, Mom, I'm bored, and so what? I mean, nobody ever died on
Because of being
being
boring,
bored.
being bored. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
actually, sorry, um, pedagogists, they advise boredom as much as they can. They advise to have at least 2 hours a day, because creativity and even like logic comes when you have nothing to do.
It's true. It's my also personal observation. The time when I'm bored, some a very out of the box ideas comes, because that state of mind is in that state of mind, emotions maybe are higher, and in those state I feel that the above logic ideas comes in this new direction. But usually it's very pity that people don't want to stay in the bored state of boredom, and
Yeah.
they want to go to the other state to connect with some I mean some to listen something, or and then they don't want to live in that state. Mm.
Exactly. And there is another thing that usually is the parents' problem. It's not the children problem. Because if the children ask you the phone, it means that you, as a parent, are spending a lot of time with your phone, right? And if he's not asking you and you give it, is another message that is you worrying about what it
Mm.
might happen if your child is bored, right? Then there is another case when parents give a lot of digital devices is when they have some cries, right? Some tantrum or they start screaming, or when we are in the restaurant and we want to talk with our friends. And this is those are the two cases where we also need to pay a lot of attention, because some parents might say, "Oh, I would just give the phone," and they stop crying because afraid of losing face, or probably you are afraid or not be able to manage the situation. But actually, what pediatricians advise is just wait. You know, so if there is any crisis, or if it's a tantrum or small or bigger, doesn't matter. Just wait.
Mm.
You don't need to scream, you don't need to give nothing, because actually this is a moment when the children is learning how to deal with emotions.
Mm.
And for example, in Montessori they have a technique that is called the waiting hand.
Okay.
So you just give the hand to the child. Like different institutions or different theories, right? There is the waiting hand. There is another theory that you should just sit next to the kid and just tell him, "I'm here. I listen. I'm here for you. Don't worry. I wait for you." I'm talking about the tantrum. Um, or others are that you should stay closer to the child and let him feel that you are there physically. But the phone will not solve the problem. The phone is like how to is like put a tape on a mouth of somebody screaming. Is the same thing. You're not fixing the problem. You're covering. You're
Mm.
pretending that now is everything good, but no, it's like anesthetic. So,
So
and
what?
when we have actually, this is also another thing. If you give the phone to your child, is limiting his or her social ability, because it's very important for kids to listen, to interact, to imitate parents, and to be able to be with other adults, manage the attention, manage the loneliness, because probably will be one child with the five adults, manage also the like analysis, right? Because you're a child, you have to listen and understand what they're talking about. Probably is too big topic, right, for a child, but it's very good for that. If you give a phone during a dinner just because you want to talk, you're not helping your child cognitively speaking.
Mm, it's true. But what type of problems, emotional, mental, or rational thinking abilities, how they are affected and from this digital addiction of the tabs and cell phone, something like that? Do
Okay, so there
is it really some mental or cognitive problems are linked scientifically with the excessive use
yes,
of digital media, digital tabs, or is just I mean just the people say is a problem?
there are many. So talking about neurocognition,
Mhm.
there is the problem of attention. So for children, it's getting lower and lower. Then there is the concentration is getting lower and lower. Then impulsivity. Kids are getting too easy to get aggressive. And then there is the executive function that is totally changing and affected by that. And ADHD, actually, there are many children that they are told to be with ADHD, but actually is digital addiction.
Okay.
So there is a new advice from some psychiatrists that they advise parents when they're afraid that children has ADHD to remove for 2 weeks any form of digital device. Any, like,
Okay. So
totally
this
zero.
is kind of you're telling about the digital detox. Yeah.
Yes, this is to later double check if it's a real ADHD or not. This is about neurocognition. Then there is about sleeping. So children using more digital devices, they were gonna have more likely gonna have more sleeping problems, so more difficulties of sleeping, less sleeping time, and a disturbed sleeping quality. So they might wake up very often and so on. And also, they might be like nervous when they sleep, like moving a lot or things like that. So even the quality will be affected. And we know that sleep is one of the very, very important things for people, right?
No
So
doubt.
if you have bad sleep, you cannot have a quality life, right?
True.
Then there is a psychological problem. There is a higher anxiety, higher stress, depression, isolation, and suicidal attempt. So a kid that is overusing digital devices or a kid with digital addiction is likely going to have suicidal thinking. And we have seen, I think, most of the people have seen in news about AI giving ideas or social media, but it's not only about this. It's not only about social media, because I always say about this. It's not only about the social media. Like digital devices, they're so easy and so strong that you can do anything online, right? So it's very easier to get lonely, and even only loneliness bring people to think that they're worse than anyone else, that they are too lonely, they will never find a partner, they will never, like, so then when the mind starts thinking,
Yeah,
will
when
never
mind start wandering, it doesn't come to the baseline. It goes on and on.
exactly. Exactly. So then there is another problem is about social relation, right? So if you have less social interaction, this also going to affect your quality of your life, right? And less talkative interaction, less also like discussions, because also having a discussion with a person, even a verbal fight, is good. I mean, it's sometimes we are afraid, right, on discuss with people, but this is good. I mean, we need to have things like this because we is helping our analytical thinking, is helping us to understand who we are, who we really want to be, also, right? Then there is the addiction, and there are many kinds of addiction. So there is the one is called nomophobia. That is when people think that is always ringing the phone.
Okay. This is maybe due to extensive use, maybe after the some brain damage. I feel maybe. Is this under normal
No,
situations?
this can happen in any person. Actually, it's very common. We don't think it's so common, but it is very common because
Okay.
now we are so much used to receive like ding, 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 ding. So often people check the phone every 3 minutes, even if they are not receiving messages, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Then there is, of course, the dopamine addiction, because the problem with digital devices, social media, video games and all those things. The problem is that they're really a dopamine releaser, right? So every few seconds you receive a quantity of dopamine that you will need a marathon to receive all this quantity of dopamine. So this is also a very high problem. And then there are the physical problems, like the eyesight is called a computer vision syndrome. Then the posture, right? Like we can see now a lot of kids, they stay like this because they're always bound on digital devices.
Right.
And and the problem of that the kids are getting fatter and fatter because they don't move,
Hmm.
right? They spend so much time. I mean, they already have to study, so they're already sitting a lot of time, and then they finish study and they sit down on a computer to play video games. I mean, we are,
Again.
like it's not feasible. Entire function is not working right, because it's actually, for example, some pediatricians, they say that and this is also, for example, in the TCM in China, right? They say a lot, like, if you don't move enough your body, your sleeping time cannot be good, right? They have these, they say, like, 100 steps after each meal and you were gonna live 100 years, for example, right? This is also very important, like the fact that young generations are not having enough physical activity. That I'm not talking about sport, because you can have 1 hour a week of football, but this is not about moving your body. You should move your body every day, like walk to school, take the stairs. It's not enough to do 10 steps to go to the kitchen, and then 100 to go to school, and then other 100 to come back, another 10 to go to sleep. This is not moving. We should be active every day. Then there are two factors that are not, let's say, direct problem to our body, but they're the risk, let's say. So one is the security, right? The safety, so cybersecurity. The first is pornography. So kids are very likely to find pornography online, and nowadays the pornography is very, very bad and mean, and it's not healthy at all. And the other one is the grooming. So adults that they pretend to be their mates on the video game, and they try to get them and meet, and they disappear. Then the cyberbullying is also a very, very strong topic, because be like a very mean person online is easier than be a mean person, because be in the class and tell something bad in front of a person, you need to be brave, right? I mean, we have been in school, everybody, right? And we had always the bad guy in the classroom. But you need to
True.
be brave. Probably also a little
To
bit
face.
crazy, whatever. But you need to be brave to bully someone in front of you with your face and your hands. But online is much easier. So it's much easier to be attacked online than in real. So weak people online, they might face a very difficult life, let's say. Then I will talk about neuronal right. That this is also a very important topic for me. That this is actually why I started all of that, because I really believe that kids, they have the right to keep their mental integrity, and they have the right to keep their neuronal function in perfect and healthy condition. And I think that also the cognitive abilities should be kept at their best. And we are the gatekeepers. Parents are
Should
responsible
be.
for that.
So, what age is actually with age, our strategies to manage kids should be, I think, changed or should not be changed. So, what is your view about this? For example, when the child is up to 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, 15, 20. So at what certain age or in which age brackets we should have which strategy, when we should start, giving more freedom or in decreasing our checks and something like that with age. So what is your view about this, the management of the kids with the time or with the age? At
It's a
what
good
age?
question.
Up to what age? For example, the usually in the Western, maybe Europe, maybe 18 or 20 years. In South Asian culture, where I belong, usually the kids are dependent on parents even after the graduation, 2 years even after the graduation. So
Yeah.
keeping the scientific experience or scientific knowledge, what is your view that the parents should manage until what age?
So this is a very interesting question, and there is a very new scientific research. Looks like that until 13 years old, science say that is decreasing the cognitive ability like drastically. Okay, but from 13, not really, because from 13 the digital become more a social interaction tool, right? So actually if you don't have social media at the age of 13, you might face other kind of problems, like you will feel out of the group, out of your social environment. Okay, so if we should look at the scientist results, we should say 13 years old, right? But I also believe that we have the power to also manage our environment. For example, I knew a lot of people that they used to give the phone to children. And when we used to meet, I was kindly asking them to let the kids play together and not give the phone, because otherwise I don't bring my son to the easily like that, like I don't bring my son to a dinner to do an object, to be an object sitting there and play with his phone. I would rather leave him with the babysitter and play at home with the babysitter. If I bring my son to a dinner or to a party with other kids, is because I want my son to play with the kids, right? So I also believe that we can modify a little bit our environment. For example, as a parent, you can pick the school that better represent your ideas. For example, I had a lot of schools around me that they were amazing schools, but all of them, they had digital tools, big screens in class, amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, I don't bring my son to the school. So I picked a school with no screen, with no digital tools. So I think we also have the power to decide our future. And I don't think there is a clear answer about your question. I think that the later, the best. I think that if you give the phone, actually, we should not give the phone. I also believe that the children should work to buy the phone. It's not something that they really need. So
Yeah, they
if you
should not
punish,
get the phone from the parents' pocket.
yeah, I mean, I think you
Yes,
want it,
absolutely fine.
you work, you buy. It's not clothes. I mean, I cannot bring my son outside naked, so I will buy the clothes to my children, but I will not buy the phone. So if you really want it, okay, do your best. So this will be my idea.
Yeah,
So
it's very rational actually. If they want, they demand, the kids sometimes demand phone or the tabs or your laptop, and they demand in the way that it's their fundamental right, like water, like food.
yeah,
So then
and
the
yeah, like, and also like it might change, of course, because if you live in a very big city and your children need like a phone to call you because sometimes it might go to have some activity or something like this, okay, but I will not give a smartphone. I will give a normal phone just to call me and send me a message, right?
Hmm.
It's more a communication tool than not like World Wide Web too, because
Yeah,
actually the problem is online.
yeah, online,
Aesthetic,
especially the.
aesthetic.
Mm,
Before the problem is also only on the screen, the light, the colors, all those things. So no matter if it's social media or if it's a video that you should, like for example, at the beginning, when my son was around 2, what I was allowing him to watch was real performances, because I used to do performances with kids. So when I was doing the show with the kids, and he could not come because probably he was too young, or I was afraid that he would scream during the show or something like this, I was showing the real show on the TV with the kids dancing and talking. That is like a real experience feel. So I think that depends on the situation, when to give and how to give it. But the later the best. And never give it as a given thing that, oh, it's okay to give it, or his right, her right to take it. No, you need to introduce, you need to explain, you need to ask him or ask her why do they think they need it, why they should have it, what do they need to do with that, and what do they think they have done to deserve it,
mm,
and why they really want something like this. Because what we never think is that smartphones are not phones, are super
computer.
unbelievable mini computers that
Yeah.
we can do anything we want. So is we really underestimate those things.
Mm. So another the new problems which is emerging today. I was in the morning. I was listening some talk that nowadays the kids they are consulting everything with the AI, with the chat GPT or whatever is the cloud or any other new AI apps. They are consulting the fundamental basic things like their personal problem, the advice and the career consultation,
Yeah,
emotional things.
yeah.
Okay, so this is a new problem. So how the parents then can cope up this again, as I feel from your previous discussion that we should engage as a parent with the kids much more and should personally I mean the verbally interaction or the communications must be more and more. What are your views about this problem, this new Gen Z problem?
Yeah, I mean, is a normal problem. I think it's not strange that it's happening, because out of the blue, kids found out that is replying, because this is often a problem of these parents' generation, right? Like overwhelmed by the work, too stressful, too much job, low income, and the war and this and that, blah blah blah, and social media. So the first to be disconnected are the parents.
Mm,
And parents are not really listening to kids. Parents often are, I mean, I understand it, because it's not easy, this period of life that we are living is not easy at all, right? I mean, but at the same time, we need to remember ourselves that having a kid is a big responsibility. It's not enough to give a roof, food, and warm clothes. We really need to pay attention about their physical and mental health.
yeah, true.
So
Even
you as a
emotional needs should be parents should be aware of the emotional needs
yeah,
because they
we need
when we ignore
definitely.
them then maybe they have something in their mind and they are just as a sport or as a alternate of those relationships, those things which we cannot provide them or they are not aware of it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, like as we said before, like parents need to try to breathe and wait. Be patient. Patient for me is the key. Try to be connected with your children. Don't be afraid to show also your weaknesses, because this is also another problem of
Mm,
parents. Like often we are afraid to show to our children, right? Oh, today I'm sad, today I'm tired, today something bad happened. we are afraid to tell those things to our children, but we should not. Like, if we want that they are emotionally connected with us, we must be the first one to be emotionally connected with them. It's the same thing that I said before. You
It's a more
cannot
like a
tell to
covalent bond rather than the coordinate covalent, one way. Should not be one way.
yes,
Mm.
show and not tell, right? Like, it happens to me like a few weeks ago that I was crying and my son came to me. It's like, Mommy, what happened? And I was like, nothing. Sometimes mommy crying and it's all fine. It's like it can happen, like I can be sad or I can hurt myself, or sometimes I can cry because I'm super happy. Like, we should not be afraid. And I think that if the parent is the first one creating the connection, the emotional connection, the kid will reply to this emotional connection. If the kid feel that the parents are perfect, right? Like, they're like idols, that they never cry, they're never angry, they always cook, they can do everything, blah blah blah. When kids do something wrong, they correct, and they're always perfect. How can a kid come to you and say, Mommy, I'm sad, or Daddy, I'm sad? You know what I mean? Like, if you're never vulnerable,
Mm.
we create this afraidness. So yeah, I think it's a step
Yeah.
evolution. And for example, like the other day, I saw this video that really shocked me. The video was about like agree or not agree to things, right?
Mm.
Like, how do you say no to something? And someone was posting those videos, say, asking the children, "Do you want that?" And the children, "No." "Do you want that?" "No." "Do you want that?" "No." "Take it. You see, you were not happy and I gave you," blah blah blah, something like this. But I think this is not the key. Like, you teach to your kid how to respect the other by respecting, right?
Mm.
By asking him, by showing him every day that you do that you talk, that you analyze things together, that you see things together, that like, I think it's a very long path. We need to engage every day. Every day is
Yeah, it's true.
challenge.
It's not a one-day job. It's continuous responsibility. The raising a human child is the most difficult thing than raising the goat child. It's just a matter of few months, maybe
Yeah,
few uh, after the birth. It can stand up even after the second day or the first day, but the human
yeah,
child is very weak, and it's a long journey
yeah,
to. So one
yeah,
last question is, how can we engage the schools in this TRICA, or in the training system? You see, the schools are really important. One of my friends' kids are studying here. He's Chinese, so the Chinese school usually they engage the kids even after 6 5 p.m. To the high school students, they are engaged up to even 9 p.m., and they don't have tabs. And so how the schools, but all schools in other countries, they are not like that. Usually the school in Pakistan, if I know the schools usually they close 2 p.m., and after that there is no connection. Maybe Europe, I don't know about much about the timing there. So how the school can play, and the school timing can play the role to get rid of this digital detox, to increase the digital detox. And this addiction is really important, because even now the some schools, they send the homeworks on the phones, and the kids say, "Oh mom, I have a homework, I need a phone." And then they take a phone, and then 5 hours 3 hours 2 hours, they, because
yeah,
pretending that they are doing the homework, and they keep that mobile. So again, the moms or the whoever is the caregiver, uh, they don't dare to ask again and again. Oh, your homework is solved. So how can the school play the role? What strategies should be adopted by the schools, because they are much more important stakeholder in the kids development.
yeah. No, this is a very strong topic and very difficult, actually, because you gave the right example, the homework, right? Because this is a problem also in Italy. It's a very big problem, and most of the parents are furious, right? Because by sending the homework by digital device, you also cancel the children responsibility, right? Before, when the class ended, we used to write down what we had to do. If you did not pay attention to write it down, I mean, it was your problem. You had to go to ask your friends if they will tell you.
Mhm.
Right? And then you had to do it. If you lose your diary and you don't have it or whatever, is your problem. You had to call your friend. But now you always have it on your digital device. So, first, responsibility. I mean, how can we pretend that our children become adults if we remove this, right? They need to grow up step by step. They cannot become adults in one day. So this is the first problem. Second problem, parents can play a big role in that because if I will receive on my phone, I will print it and give to my children printed, you know?
Mm.
Or you can, now we have, for example, the how is it called even something like this. You do the PDF, you send it to this, and you give to your children. I mean, we have solutions. I mean, we have a lot of solutions, but I think they often is the same problem as we mentioned before.
Mm.
Parents has no patience, and they look for the fastest solution because even the AI problem that you mentioned before, the problem is not AI. The problem is that parents give a phone or a computer and they leave the 12 years old kid alone in his bedroom for 4 hours. I mean, I also will get nuts 4 hours in my bedroom. He should play outside. He should run. He should hurt himself by falling down and playing skateboard. You know what I mean? It's like this is the real life that they're missing.
Yeah, that's very beautiful, and we have much more to discuss. Maybe even we talking 2 3 hours is not enough. This is really good topic,
Yeah.
and the need of the day. But we are stick to the time and very short. We have very short time. So thank you, Martina, and thank you for your time and valuable your knowledge. It will be helpful for the people and the modern parents are really they need a sympathy. They are also crushed by the economic problems and they have a lot of problems, but even then it's their responsibility because they have
Yeah.
they have
We
to
can
take this
still learn.
responsibility. And thank you for coming
Thank you
to
so
this,
much.
and we will stay in touch and we will keep discussing further more topics, some good topic for the Indus documentary viewership. Any last message from you?
We love our children, so we should just enjoy their time as much as we can because they grow so fast.
Yeah,
And this
true.
is also something that can help parents
Mm.
to stay more time with the children and engage more, like remember yourself.
Mm.
Tomorrow you will be an adult and I have only, this little time. They
Mm.
grow up so fast.
Okay, thank you. Have a good time.